今天早上非常興奮，因為我即將要前往坦杜酒廠。據說坦杜酒廠是蘇格蘭唯一100%全系列熟成於雪莉桶的酒廠。坦杜酒廠走吧 ，Go！
Welcome to Tamdhu. I'm Sandy McIntyre, the distillery manager here. Been here at Tamdhu for the last 10 years. And what I thought we'd do is give you a quick tour around the site and perhaps sample some whisky at the end. Where we are right now, we are at our malt intake. This is where we bring in our malted barley for the production process itself. So we have 3 quite large silos behind us here that we will bring in lorry loads of grain. Each week we need around 214 tonnes of malted barley for our production.
Okay.
However, say Ian McLeod's bought the site 2011 from Edrington, the company that own and operate Macallan. And at that time we bought the distillery and we bought 5 warehouses here. And it was an excellent, and some of the whiskies. So it was an exceptionally good deal, reasonably cheap, but we got some excellent whisky maturing in the warehouses at that time. It was quite evident around 2013 that we needed some additional warehouses here. So the company started to embark on building new warehouses, and that's where we'll go first. At the back of the site that you don't see, we have a second filling store and another 11 warehouses and a small cooperage. And then around 2017, 2018, we needed another lot of warehouses. So we'll not even go near them, but they are just a wee bit further along the road, and there's another 3rd filling store and another 12 warehouses. So we've gone from 5 to 28 warehouses in 10, 11 years time. We sit with 139,000 casks here. Not all of it Tamdhu. As I say, quite a lot of the company's other spirits come to this site for maturation. So what we have upstairs is we have a weir. We have here a 4-roller mill, a Porteous mill. Very, very robust. Dates back to 1968. So quite old, 50, 57 years old. Came to Tamdhu in 1972. And what it's doing is that there's a set of rollers here and a set of rollers here. It's crushing the grain and getting it into a material we call grist. And that grist is made up of 3 components, made up of husks, grits and flour. And what we're looking to do is get those in the correct ratio to allow us to be as efficient as possible at extracting the sugar in the mash tun next door. So every time we run this piece of equipment, we take a sample, and this here is sugar. Yeah, sweet. And we will check the ratio of the husk, grits and flour using this machine over here.
第一次看到磨麦机里面被抽出来的东西嘞。
Yeah, we're in the mash house now, and this is where we start to actually bring the parts, the constituent parts of the process together, where we're starting to bring in the grist, the hot water that we've got, some heating tanks, introduce the 2 of them together at specific temperatures, put them into the mash tun, and then start to extract the sugars in the hot water. We do 3 mashes per day. 0600 hours, 1400 hours and 2200 hours.
Okay.
So 3 mashes, 18 mashes in a week. So we're quite busy. Everything here is fully automated. So we've got Jordan here, has just started his shift, and he'll be here till 10 o'clock tonight. But he'll be seeing this mash, but also as top of that, he's looking after the rest of the process. Mash tun itself, our mash size is just less than 12 tonnes, so it's 11.85 tonnes for every mash. So say about 213, 214 tonnes per week. And what we're trying to achieve here in this semi-lauter mash tun is extraction of the sugar. So we've got a false floor, perforated floor, and that allows the husks to sink on top of the perforated floor and act as a filter. And it's very important, Tamdhu. This is where we start to have major influences in our spirit character. Each distillery has a slightly different character of new make spirit. Our new make spirit smells of fruity. It's very fruity, it's got pears, it's got green apple in it. It's quite intense, it's like, come and smell me. I'm so good, smell me, enjoy me. And this is where we start to have an influence on that. As I said before, everything's automated, so we have a computer screen. We can see what's happening at the malt intake outside. So this is our malt intake outside that we saw. This is our mill. We can then say have a wee look at the mash. So the mash has just started. Our volumes are all okay and set, and it'll allow it to settle for a short time now before we actually start to pump the wort through for fermentation.
哦，好清楚哦。
It's very similar to a lot of other distilleries now, going to automation. What I'm very pleased about is our operator, Jordan, as you saw, comes through here when we're mashing in. We have a control room that the operator is based in, but every time we mash, there's a person standing here watching what's happening in the mash tun itself. And that's still very, very important, to be looking at things and paying attention. This is the cathedral. This is our tun room. This is where the fermentation happens with that wort that we've taken from our mash tun next door. What we want to do in here is convert the sugars that we've extracted in the mash tun, convert that sugar into alcohol. So we do that through the addition of yeast. The yeast that we have outside in the two tanks, we have got creamed yeast. We will add yeast into the wort, and then that yeast will then start to convert that sugar into alcohol. So let's have a wee look in one of the washbacks here.
Okay.
We've got quite big washbacks. Our washbacks are around 80,000 litres if they're totally full, but we have put in 53,500 litres of wort. It's going to be in here for about 57, 59 hours, so 2.5 days.
哦哦，好大，真的放很大哎。
What we get during that fermentation process though is the conversion of the sugars to alcohol. We get production of carbon dioxide, and we get some self-heating going on. So the temperature will also increase in here to somewhere about 32, 34 degrees. The type of yeast that we use is a strain called Mauri MG+, and that also enhances the fruity character of the spirit that we're going to get. So we actually get quite a fruity smell going on in here as well during the fermentation process. We've got nine of these American Oregon pine washbacks. We've traditionally stuck with wooden washbacks in comparison to maybe some newer distilleries that have got stainless steel. My experience thus far is that it doesn't have an impact in the spirit quality so long as you work to certain parameters. For us, we've replaced all these washbacks over the last 10, 12 years. So for us, it was easier to replace the washbacks with American pine again. We do have a blade in here, a switcher blade, that the motor comes on and breaks down that foam. Because if we didn't, this would all foam over unless we added anti-foam. The variety of barley or malt that we're on is a variety called Laureate. In particular, seems to produce this very, very wet, sloppy type of foam and froth on the top. Say if it had been about 8 hours later, you would have probably seen one for a different day. This is where the actual distillation takes place, obviously. We have 3 pairs of stills. So right behind us here, we've got the number 1 wash and number 1 spirit. Over here, we've got number 2 wash and number 2 spirit. And then at the very far end, number 3 wash and number 3 spirit. Always each pair of stills is working together. So number 1 wash and number 1 spirit always work together.
Okay.
Not interested in what happens with number 2, and same thing, number 2 wash and spirit are always working together. Through the fermentation, we've produced this beer around 7, 8, 9, 10% alcohol. What we want to do now in here is distill off the alcohol and actually start to get the spirit, that new make fruity spirit that we were talking about before. So if we go down and we look at the safe, we'll actually see what's going on. Number 1 and number 2, as I said before, roughly about 26, 27% alcohol. This end though, this end's a good end, and we've landed at the right time. What we've got going on here, again, number 3's off, number 1 spirit still, and number 2 still. If it's going in the left-hand bowl, then it's low wines or faints. We've timed it perfectly. It's going in the right-hand bowl. This is spirit. So let's have a wee.
I drink.
Have a wee taste, yeah. Yeah, of course.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Slange it.
much.
Slange it. No. This will be somewhere about 70% strength, 70, 71 maybe even.
它不会很辣哎，不会很烈呢。
Yeah, that's what I was wanting you to say. Yeah, this is the difference. This is the difference that I find with Tamdhu in comparison to other distilleries that I've worked at. So I've worked at 4 other distilleries in my career. Now, each of them, if you take a drink of it, of the new make spirit, people go, oh, okay? But Tamdhu, people like you, I will have more, I will have more, I will have more.
Yes.
And that's the difference. This is this fruity, light, you know, pleasant, you know, it's got those notes I said before, of pear, of green apple. It doesn't give you throat burn. It's 70%. And this would be perfectly pleasant to put in like as a base for a cocktail. You know, females will drink this as a base for a cocktail. Fantastic.
我很少喝到清酒这么好喝的嘞。
For us here, we're not looking for lots of reflux. So, you know, that we don't want big long necks of our stills. We want a bit of reflux and condensation forming the inside of the neck of the still to come back to get a wee bit of redistillation again. However, we don't want that to be happening an awful lot. So here is more the wort and the fermentation and it's actually controlling more of the spirit character. Our distillation rate's not particularly high. We're going about 10 litres per minute here, so it's not massive. It's just a steady distillation, and again, that aids us to give us that lighter character. So it's not too intense in terms of heaviness. There's no heaviness there at all. Seeing people be able to drink that and not have an unpleasant look in their face is one of the things I really take pleasure in.
好古老的仓库哦。
So we have at Tamdhu palletised warehouses, which we saw, which are whiskey is generally for blends and, you know, for young blends, 3, 5, 8-year-old blends. We have racked warehouses like this one here, where there may very well be some, well actually probably this warehouse there isn't much in the way for Tamdhu single malt. This again will be used for blends. And then we've got traditional Dunwich type warehouses, which is where pretty much all the Tamdhu for single malt is kept. And just again, it's a wee bit more careful, a wee bit more dedicated, and certainly the better way to mature whiskey in terms of the surface area of the liquid that's presented to the wood of the cask itself. So this warehouse has probably got about 4,500, well, it's actually quite empty at the moment, but it could hold about 4,500 casks, this one.
我们现在最万众瞩目的统编摄影来了。
One year there was a group from Taiwan, and there was maybe 15, 16 people, and we're having dinner. And I was, the first time I'd had dinner, formal dinner with people from Taiwan, and I was introduced to each person around the table, and it was with red wine. And this is Leo. Leo's from Taiwan. And Tambe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You are my brother.
Yes. So all round the table, 19 people. Glass of red wine with every person. Only once I made this mistake.
Yeah. 所以说我们台湾的酒才会卖这么好，对不对？
But you know, this is a different level again. This is, you know, we didn't savour, or I didn't savour that there. But this is, you know, you can even still see the colour in the glass. Far more Christmas cake, sultanas, dates that's there.
Yeah.
Very, very rich.